Yes, brothers and sisters, and this is not just about this show. Well, this Alex Sass show is not just about me being heard by me most of the time because I'm the only one listening to me. Seems like sometimes that's actually the reason why I do the show. But I thought, what can I do to make this more appealing to you, is the audience? Well, let's put some useful stuff. Have you ever got a ticket, traffic ticket, parking ticket? Well, today we're going to help you, especially here in Quebec. Well, specifically here in Quebec, and maybe what's the state? New Orleans,
Louisiana.
Louisiana, right?
And France.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for France. And by the way, this is not a legal advice, and do not hold us accountable for any of those things. We're not lawyers here, but we have done a research, and Anonymisses, the regular co-host of a regular program here, it came with her experience, and she's going to share something that is useful, how not to pay a ticket in Quebec specifically. Well, let's start by I have a question. What's the difference between police officer and a peace officer? Or is that the proper way of saying it, Glad? Peacekeeping officer, police officer?
Peace officer.
Peace officer.
I don't, maybe it depends on what language you're speaking it in, too.
Right? That's right, too. But how did police become a police? Like, what does police actually stands for, Anonymisses?
I believe police stands for policy enforcers.
Right. And they should be peace enforcers.
And that's under the contract law, admiralty law. And peace officers would be anything that's within our constitutional right. What? Yes. Oh, sorry. A civil code defines those who enforce as peace officers, or those who try to protect the Quebec charter right or whatnot.
Let's actually explain to audience the difference between a civil code and common law. Common law. What's the common law? Common law is anything that
law
to do
of
with
the land.
Law of the land. So the Commonwealth, right? It comes from the England, and civil code it used to be called Neapolitanic law, right? It comes from France. That's really is the difference. And here in Quebec, French province, you can practice both, but we practice civil code at the most. I believe in courts, if you go to court for certain things, you can choose which law you want to practice it. No?
I mean, it would be hard for them because they practice admiralty law, the law of the sea.
Okay.
That's all contract the law.
Explain that.
Well, it's
a whole different show. All right.
I won't even go
so,
into
okay,
it.
let's first things first. What do you do? How to deal with a police officer when you first get pulled over?
I want to preface that driving and operating a motor vehicle is only for commercial purposes. For license and registration, you need to have if you're operating a commercial and doing commerce. But if under persons, which is a legal fiction. But if you're a man, woman who are going by their life in their personal vehicle, traveling from destination A to B, you do not need license and registration. I didn't know that before until I started doing research. And Montreal has the word, I don't know how anybody else, but I've got so many tickets to the point that you can go broke. You lose your license. They tell you that you cannot even buy your car. You cannot sell your car. You cannot do anything with.
And tickets for what? Like, I don't see you doing 80 kilometers over the speed limit. It would be parking tickets.
Parking. I did get a speeding ticket in 2019. I was actually, and it was that prompted me to do all this research because I felt like it was so unfair, and it continued for 3-4 years because we were going through this 2020 period. So the courts were closed and they were doing online. But it lasted 3 years, this ticket, and I kept getting stuff for it. So I had to stand up to the courts, and that's where it begins.
So how do you deal with a police officer?
Well, if I'm here. Are you showing it on the screen?
Yes, it's on the screen. They can see what you're talking about.
A lot of people have hard time standing up, and you have to be nice because they don't even know their own laws. These peace officers.
Yeah, you do. There's a bunch of YouTube videos about what do they call them? First Amendment activists that will walk around triggering police intentionally, and then police will go out of hand, and then they'll have like a body cam and they'll film police officer doing it, and they'll go to court and do the suit. You know, the supervisor's usually prepared for that. Supervisor will come in and be like, "Hey, come on, man, what are you doing?" But you can see a lot of incompetent police officers. By the way, not every police officer is incompetent,
but they're unaware, just like anybody else, unaware of what's going on and how it works. So there, you have to. This is the questions you ask them. At the end, they're gonna give you a ticket.
So go ahead. Let's play improv. So I'll pull you over, ma'am. You know do you know why I pulled you over?
Oh yeah,
I'm asking you. Yes.
No, I do not. Please do tell me. We don't even have to do this.
Do you even have to talk to the police?
You don't. You have to be very cordial, though.
Very nice, right?
Yeah.
How can you be very cordial and very nice?
Kill him with kindness,
but not talk to him.
Very small conversation. You don't say like you or say I'm guilty. I was speeding. Sorry, officer. You know what I mean? So what would that be? Your
admittance of guilt.
Admit to your guilt. You know what I mean? So you don't admit. You have no idea why they stopped you. You keep asking, are you a peace officer? Are you acting under oath? And they're gonna have the time. They're gonna try to not to answer. If there are peace officers, they shouldn't be stopping you. But if they're policy enforcers, that's a different thing. And they're under a different jurisdiction altogether. But again, you're going to get a ticket. Cops don't know what's going on. They think you're crazy if you do that. They're going to write you a ticket. You're nice. You take the ticket.
What about a parking ticket? I go a little bit different because that's somebody...
I show example of both.
Okay. But the parking ticket is not a police officer or a peace officer.
Parking ticket too.
Okay.
I'll show it. Can you go to the next? So you get a ticket, speeding or parking. You find a place where there's an area where you can put this part, what it says, within the 72 hours of receiving this ticket, you reject the contract. You don't want to answer it. You don't want to pay it. So you put all this information and you autograph it. You don't sign it. You put your legal fiction name.
You autograph it, but you don't sign it. You
explain the difference.
You put all capitals, letters.
Okay, block letters.
Yeah.
So it's not a signature. It's just
your legal fiction name.
Okay.
Because you have the.
Do you put Mr. or Mrs. or
no, nothing. Just what
they them?
What they use for you. Because you can see on any bank statements, any tax statements, they use your straw man as like a legal fiction name, person.
Okay.
So you put that within the 72 hours. You send it through the registered mail, because that's the only way that you can track it. So they can say that, no, we never got it.
You couldn't mark an X as though you're illiterate or you don't know how to write?
What do you... You don't even sign, like the ticket where you sign, when they give you the area, don't ever sign it there. Don't ever sign, I'm not guilty, because that automatically enters you into the contract. You find like an empty spot and you put this wording into it.
So you could write this anywhere on a ticket. You don't really like if there's nothing like your ticket most likely not going to say those things or give you that option, but you can write anywhere on a ticket or make an addendum, right? Or like write attach it. It's better to write on a ticket because then they can't lose it.
Yeah. You write on the ticket.
Okay.
Not an attachment. That somebody asked me this the other day.
Okay.
With blue, and you send it within 72 hours.
Why 72 hours? That's just...
because they have like a timing, 72 hours, 15 days, 30 days. They follow certain commercial contract laws and the dates. It's
so you have 3 days to do it.
To answer your rescission. It's rescission of contract right away. You don't want to deal with it, you rescission.
And you write this rescission of contract in blue.
In blue.
Blue ink, obviously.
Okay, let's go to the next one. So what is this?
So this is a letter I received on September 30th. No, a bit later, because that's what it was stamped, saying that I received this ticket that I did not pay, take care of, and that they were going to suspend my license and my car that not even my husband could drive, or I could sell it, buy anything. I mean, I just felt threatened. And I had no idea what this was at first. and they brought it by registered mail. So I received this ticket, and they're telling me that my license is going to be suspended, and they send you your driving record, which is next.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows you at the bottom where the penalty is, and that you need to take care of.
In red, right? So
yeah,
it says,
where you have.
So your penalty there says unpaid fine, blah blah blah.
Because I had no idea what was going on. First, I was trying to find somebody who can help me. I knew there's people in Quebec, there's people in U.S., a lot of people in U.S. who are doing this in Canada, but I didn't know anyone in Quebec. So I was at this point, I was like, my license is about to be suspended in 2 days. I need to do something like sink or swim kind of thing. So because I knew this information, so I was like, I just have to go and try. So I went to the Montreal Municipal Courts to speak to a clerk to figure out what they had on file, what the ticket was, because I had no idea. So this is when I get to the courthouse, see a clerk, and I ask her to show me the record that would suspend my license, and she gave me these papers, which you can go next to the next slide. So this is what the courthouse gives you, what they have on record. And this one was a parking ticket they say I got when I was in court, like months prior, paying for something else. But I never saw it. They can argue this or not. And then I moved.
So they're bringing past problems forward.
Yeah, pretty much. So what I found funny, as you can see, the little red star, is that it says sold. Because when it comes to the point when they can reach you, that you haven't paid, they're going to sell your debt to they're going to borrow against your trust. So they already have your money.
I believe sold means that's balance. Montant due, that's your amount of money due. And sold means balance. In other words, you haven't paid anything on it.
Yeah, but somebody explained to me that it meant because there were other ones that had no sold on it.
I would like to see what that looks like in English.
I would too, but they only do French. Even if it didn't, but I know they borrow against your trust. That's another episode altogether. So I get these two, and I tell the clerk that I have no idea what this is. Actually, she gives me two. That's another one. So I'm like, what? And this is from a ticket saying that somebody took a picture of my car being in circulation when it was suspended. And this is the mess that started all this stuff for the mess that I already paid $800.
So basically, there's no even witness. It's some camera or somebody saw you driving the car that you're not supposed to drive according to them, but no police officer,
nothing,
policy enforcer didn't see it.
Yeah, where's the proof?
Where's the proof?
I mean, are we all guilty now, and we have to
pretty
prove
much
ourselves
that's
innocent?
Until you speak up, until you say no, you need to, and that doesn't work that way.
So it's like they really like go hoping that you really are scared. And face it, Montreal is a city of immigrants. They come here not knowing what to do, and they kind of sort of, I'm already thankful to be here in Canada. They give me,
I don't want to mess up. I need to pay. This
I
is
need
the
to
law.
pay. Yeah, this is the
There's
law.
There's no other way around it.
Isn't it also like conditioning? This is the places where they come from. This is how it is. It's so corrupt. There's no way to get around it except paying. And they don't understand the reason why we come here is for the so-called democracy
and freedom,
right? And freedom. But we don't actually get to exercise this. We get to experience more authoritarianism and things like.
Yeah, what I witnessed, all these people were distraught. Some of them had to pay a huge amount. They couldn't get their life. You can't, if your license suspended, you can't work. Like, what if you're traveling somewhere far?
Also, if you're a millionaire. That's
disparity. Exactly.
You just pay the $400 ticket.
It's
you say,
nothing
you're
to
paying
you.
them to bugger off so that I have time to get back to my business. That's basically what you're doing. But for an average person, not the millionaire, but Mr. and Mrs. Average, that's half a salary, half their take-home pay after this ridiculous taxes.
She tells me I have to pay if I want to have my license back. I'm like, is there any other way? And she goes, no. And I'm like, well, I can't pay. So she throws these two papers and tells me that fill this out, bring it before 10, and you'll see a judge. So I figured out this was an affidavit.
Affidavit, right?
affidavit.
Especially now with 26% of Canadians, just came out the other day, 26% of Canadians, they're tapped out. They have no more savings left, nothing. So something like this comes along.
It can put a dent
They
in
have
your,
to borrow from somebody to pay.
or your credit.
Imagine you had a dentist bill in the same week
Yeah. And you needed new tires.
and you needed new tires.
You have
Yeah.
to feed your kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you choose between,
Am I going to eat today or am I going to...
And the thing is, like, yeah, most people do live paycheck to paycheck or hustle to hustle. So what is this affidavit for? What is it? It says
Okay, it took me a bit to figure it out because I was given wrong information. When I came back next day, the clerk explained to me the application for stay of execution of judgment, Article 255. It's when your license already suspended. So they give you 24 hours to, within the 24 hours, you see a judge and the Crown prosecutor, and you ask them to have another go at the court. So your license gets reinstated, and within 30 days, if they agree to it, you go to court about the ticket you got. Didn't know that, so I filled it out. And
wait, so this is really important. This is really important. So for any desperate person out there who just got the license suspended and they need the license to function, like to go to work, to go to school, just to be able to live in general, there is a way.
I didn't know about it because it happened to me before. I was suspended. I couldn't drive until I had money, and it was like 2-3 weeks. If I knew about this, that would have helped me a lot. But they don't want you to know about this, right?
No, they don't. So go ahead. So So you fill this out.
So I filled this out to the best of my ability from what I know how the system works. So you keep saying that I was unaware.
Do you write without prejudice on the right corner intentionally?
Yes.
Okay.
A semicolon without prejudice, and then you put your legal name, your legal fiction name, your straw man, all capitals letters.
So the Anonymisses up there beside Jane Doe.
Pretty much. In all capitals. Because
You should next time write Anonymisses. Don't write Jane Doe. It's confusing.
I will, yeah,
it's
sorry
confusing to people.
That's her stage name.
That's okay.
So I can say that I was unaware. And I asked him to provide the original debt claim that I own this, not a copy. And they don't have that because, again, they bar against your trust. They already got the money. So I put that. You can't see any further.
Yeah, I can.
So this is what I put. And the back of this, you just sign, and then the officer of oath will ask you if this is the truth, blah, 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 and you sign with them while you're there. So this is what I put. And
What'd you put? Read it.
I was unaware of this ticket, which based on the date, it was issued while I was dropping off paperwork at the courthouse. And then next paragraph read, because I was unaware of the judgment against my corporate name, I did not consent for this contract, and I am requesting the original, not a copy, of debt claim that I have never seen. And
so use that specific language. But in this case, like this particular language is related specifically to your case, or like do you advise for everybody just to let things slide till they sell your ticket, till they sell your debt to a third party, whoever they sell?
No, you just don't agree to the contract.
Okay, okay, that's it. So there would be a different wording, right? So like let's say if you got this, let's say in 3 days, versus like that's 3 years later, obviously, right? So if you got it in 3 days, you wouldn't do this, right? There would be something different.
If your license suspended within 3 days,
you wouldn't be, right?
No.
Okay. So let's go to the next document. What's the next document?
Because they want you to get to that point that they reimbursed against your trust. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the next document is application for revocation of judgment, Article 250.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically saying you want another chance in court. You can file both together. If your license suspended with 255 will come together, and then 250. If your license have not been suspended and you still want to go, you have your judgment in court, you go to Article 250 right away. And here I give an example because I was given 2 tickets. And this is the ticket where they took a picture of the car and said it wasn't supposed to be on the road, and it was $500. And here I go a bit more into detail using their language.
Go ahead. What did you write?
Corporate name, personal. I was unaware of the claim against my corporate name and my personal car because it was not my car that I use for business. It was my personal car that I use for travel and personal things.
Don't use drive, right?
Drive
never use the word
automatically
drive,
implies, based on Black Law Dictionary.
Commercial use.
Driving,
Drive.
yeah, you're doing commerce.
Okay.
So in court or anywhere in the paperwork, never put drive. I never knew that either. So I did not put that. So I was unaware of this debt claim, and the picture that was taken of my personal car while I was traveling to my garage without hurting anyone around me. They say that the only way police can stop you if
they witness
you're hurting,
causing
damage to somebody or something.
Yeah, they cannot pull you over because then they have no merit, right?
So, exactly. Under the land law. Law of the land.
Like even suspicion, like reasonable suspicion is not enough to pull you over or stop you.
You're not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
And then it becomes harassment. So at the bottom, please provide the original debt claim, not a copy, which I did not consent to, which is true, for the debt which I have already paid for on, and I give a date because they have all that files. And I signed with Jane Doe without prejudice. And this is what I filled out. On the back, again, there's just signatures, your address. Always put your name in all capitals in all the paperwork because that's what we're dealing with, your legal fiction name. And it only cost me, this is how much it costs for the oath officer to sign. Instead of going to, I thought I had to go to a notary. And I was like, it's going to cost me to... No, they do it right there. They're all... and it's cost me altogether $48. So I sign, and they give you a court date first right away for the ticket that's suspended the next day. They tell you to come to court, go upstairs. This is the room. You'll see a judge and the Crown prosecutor. So
the next document.
The next day I came in. So I come to court the next day, and I'm like nervous beyond belief because I'm like already prepared. I practice. I literally was in court for a minute, and my name was called, my file, and the Crown prosecutor said, motion granted. And I was so confused. That meant that my license was reinstated within seconds. And the judge said, we'll see you in 30 days. So I'm like, okay, I'm still going to have my day in court so I can argue that. And so I leave and I'm happy. 2 days later or 3 days later, I get this letter. And it's basically the tickets has been canceled. All the fines.
A request to cancel a notice of non-payment of a fine related to your conviction under case number for an offense committed under the Highway Safety Code or Municipal Traffic or Parking Regulation. The penalty that came into effect on October 26, 2022 will therefore be canceled as of November 1st, 2022. Please disregard the notices we sent you regarding a penalty for an unpaid fine, and rest assured that your fine no longer contains any references to that.
And they send you your driving record as well.
And it only costs you what? How much?
$48 instead of
so $24 per claim. $24 per
instead of
ticket.
$800.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you should play the $649.
Yeah, and no lawyer too, right?
No lawyer. You don't want a lawyer because you sign off your rights. People don't know that. When you get a lawyer, you automatically sign off your rights.
Because you're engaging in the contract?
No, you're giving it to somebody. All your rights that he can make any decisions. Here's your signatory. I was like, what? Because they're barred. That's another thing. The lawyer, the Crown prosecutor, and the judge all belong to the bar. They belong to the same entity that you don't belong to, which is a British Accreditation Registry. It's a foreign entity office.
Now the OpenAI ChatGPT can write the Quebec Bar Association and pass. So you might be fighting a robot next time.
But you're probably fighting a robot
Right now,
Right
as is.
now. if you went into any accredited institution, or if you're arguing with any person from accredited institution, you're probably arguing with a robot. That's the thing.
Or you're arguing with a person who looks like a
The
robot because they're
robots,
doing
yeah.
the same thing all the time. They must be fed up. Like the service you got from the clerk, was she know what she was talking about, or was she a little mixed up sometimes, or overwhelmed?
The one sent me she gave me the wrong information. The first one. The second one was nicer, younger.
Because it's so complicated, even people who work in the system make mistakes.
Of course. The language itself. Who knows this language? Like it's a completely, when you look at the word of the dictionary, you think it's one thing, but then within their language, it means completely different. Just like driving. To us, it's driving.
So you did get this letter next, right?
So I get that I have no penalty and it's been erased off my driving record.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Let it rain.
So couple people now, even my husband has gotten tickets, and we went by the same system, and I'm actually more in court now. I can't speak when I'm in court and trying to help somebody. So it was hard. They were trying to kick me out when I was trying to help them. But it's just not agreeing to their terms. And so keep saying that you're going to go to court. And they would cancel it. And what happened to my husband? They cancel all his
These
tickets.
are for minor fines. I mean, for the dangerous ones where you're a danger to society,
That's
you're
not
a
a
danger to
fine.
yourself, 100 kilometers over the speed limit.
Oh, yeah, that's different. Like if you're, there's a
But
possibility.
and that also they actually caught you in doing something dangerous, right? But again, I don't know. Like this is a whole different show. I think this was really, really educational. This was really, really interesting and cool. And we really thank Anonymisses for. Yeah, what do you got to say?
I just want to. I hope I can include certain links in the podcast at the bottom that people can look at as well.
No, we got to charge for that. So yes, you can include, but then you would only look it up on Patreon for this. No, just kidding, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. We will show you the links that Anonymisses has to provide for your resource information.
Where this came from, other people.
Educate yourself, learn things outside of the system, because the system isn't going to teach you those things, because it does not make useful slaves. Don't be a slave to the system. Yes, we will include all the links. Thank you, Anonymisses, for showing us something really useful today. We're hoping you'll do more homework. And again, disclaimer, this is not a legal advice. This is not a legal advice. So do not hold it against us if you go to court and you get arrested and go to jail. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
But do contact us if you do need assistance. I'm being serious. We're here to help others.
Okay,
our
I'll
brothers,
put.
sisters.
So how about I'll do this, ladies and gentlemen. I will leave Anonymisses' email link, and you will contact her directly, and she'll help you as much as she can about this. Thank you, brothers and sisters. See you on the next one.